Okay, this is going to be a short video to show how I process green wood into rough turn bowls for drying. We're starting today with about an 8 or 9 inch diameter elm blank, and for the majority of this process I'll be using a 5/8 inch bowl gouge. This one happens to have a fingernail or Ellsworth grind on it. I like that grind because it's very versatile. I can do the majority of the turning. In fact, you could do all of the rough turning with it. I do use a scraper at the very end of this process on this piece. Here I found some loose bark, so I'm just gonna take a big chisel and knock it off. In this bowl, the bark side of the wood is gonna be the bottom of the bowl, so we just need to get rid of it so it doesn't come flying off and hit me. So now we'll go back to turning the blank, and I'm just gonna define the outside shape. What I'm looking for is a nice smooth, even curve from the bottom to the top. So we'll just continue to true up the blank, start working on the bottom with some scraping cuts, and then define that shape that I'm looking for. And once I'm starting to get there, what I'll start doing is working on the tenon. This tenon will be used to grip the blank into the 4-jaw chuck so we can hollow out the inside. So then now I'm going to take an awl and make sure I put a hole right dead center in the base. And it's a pretty deep hole because I want to be able to find it after the bowl has had time to dry. That'll let me recenter the bowl to true up the tenon before final turning. And I'm just taking some scraping cuts to get a nice even curve all the way around. I'm not too concerned about the finish on the outside of the wood at this point. I don't want a lot of tear out, but I'm really more concerned about a nice consistent curve that'll make hollowing out the inside and making a nice even wall thickness much easier. So now we've got the outside of the bowl turned, and now we're going to flip it around, take it off the faceplate, and place it inside the 4-jaw chuck. So once we put it on the chuck, make sure it's nice and tight. Don't want those things flying off on me. And then we'll start to work on the face of the bowl. First thing I do is some nice scrape cuts across the face just to kind of flatten it out, keep the tool from bouncing around. And then I will start using a push cut and start hollowing out the inside of the bowl. As I mentioned, you can do the entire rough turning process with this one tool, and what's nice about this kind of tool is, again, it's so versatile that it makes you very efficient. You're not always going back and changing tools. You take it all the way down to the bottom. Now we're just doing a little scraping to clean up the rim, and then a push cut all the way to the bottom. What I'm aiming for is a nice even wall thickness throughout the bowl. And there you can see the push cut, taking it all the way down to the bottom. The rule of thumb that I use is you want 1/10 of an inch for the diameter of the bowl. So this is an 8-inch diameter bowl, so that would be 0.8 inches, or just a little over 3/4 of an inch thick. So that's what I'm shooting for. Now this step is completely unnecessary. I'm just taking a little scraper and kind of cleaning up the inside, make it nice and smooth, but there's no requirement to do that. So now we've got the bowl roughed out. Now I'm going to seal it with Anchor Seal 2, and you just slop it on all over the bowl, make sure it's in there nice and thick, and then label it with the species and the date and the year, and we'll wait 6 to 10 months, and this bowl will be ready for finished turning. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.